Welcome, welcome. It's so great to sit down with you for creative energy level number 7. So this is where the rubber meets the outer dimensional road, and we go up into our higher consciousness so that we can connect with something bigger than ourselves and something greater than ourselves, as Abraham Maslow relates in the point in the hierarchy of needs. Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs takes us up to this point of transformation. So today I welcome you because this is where we have been traveling to reach. There's still 2 more levels within the context of our physical experience that we'll be touching in on. But today, the 7th level is this place where we calm down. We bring stillness into the equation. We allow ourselves to imagine that it's possible to be peaceful. So we call this the point of meditative connection. What Jacqueline Small says about this point in our development is in our book, Awakening in Time. She refers to this level of energy. And remember, she has a chapter on each of the energy fields 1 through 7. She doesn't cover 0, and she does not cover anything beyond what's right in the chakra system within the body. But the 7th level, she says, it is the crown. It's the pineal gland. I neglected to say that the 6th level is the pituitary gland. And so you can look those up. You can see about the health of your immune system and the glands that filter the energy in these different parts of the body. And if you have a need for healing, you can go back through the levels of energy and connect them to your own healing journey, for example. I know this works because my little sidebar story would be that when I was first introduced to the idea of using the relationship between the conscious mind, frontal lobe, and the subconscious mind, the mind within the body that directs us in our life, depending upon the way that we think. Today, we're looking at how we think. We're looking at how we stop thinking long enough to let something bigger than ourselves, something greater than ourselves, enter into our consciousness. So when I first learned about this connection, I was very young and I had gone through a very difficult experience, which, on our life path, we all get these very difficult experiences. So it's useful. One of the ways to use the creative levels of energy is to, if we're dealing with issues around our overall physical health, we can look at each of these levels of energy within the context of healing, and we can look at the gland that is associated with each level to connect with alternative, holistic, homeopathic healing modalities, touch for health, cranial sacral work, all these different modalities that support the immune system in the body. So to do a quick review as we're moving up the ladder from the first level of energy, the first level is the adrenal glands. The second level is our sexual organs. The third level is our pancreas. The fourth level is the heart. The fifth level is the thyroid. The sixth level is the pituitary. I get the last two confused. Pituitary for the third. And the seventh level gland is the pineal gland, right down in the middle of the brain. Concerns with this level of energy, seventh level of energy, it concerns the power to manifest unambiguously, being oneself, beginning anew, or connecting with our Godhead, our sense of connection to, again, something bigger, something greater, whatever we name it, something beyond our own experience that reaches through to the veil. So when we turn the camera in a moment, we'll look at how that functions as a visual tool. And then, you know, as with everything we've said so far, in each session, you get to do further research. And I'm going to continue to build on what we're doing here, because this is really my passion, is how do we create a life that really functions on the art of allowing ourselves to feel whole, to feel as if we fit in our own life experience. It's such a rare thing, and I'm just really excited to be able to share any focus points that bring us back again home. So let me turn the camera and we'll look at our actual stick figure map for the 7th level of energy. Coming over here to the camera and giving it a shift. And so here we have our stick figure expansion. We redrew it when we got over to the 6th level of energy. We moved over here, so, and 5th level. So we can really see that we're moving up. We place our roots, we stabilize, and then we begin the climb. And it's a daily climb. And sometimes it's multiple times a day that we anchor ourselves, ground ourselves, balance ourselves, root ourselves. And then we begin to move energy field by energy field upward. When we get to the 7th level of energy, our color is violet. And I like to make this like a container, like a soup bowl, we could say. And we could even, you know, color it in like it's a soup bowl. And then from there, we want energies to radiate up and out. We could say like steam rising up out of the bowl, because this level of energy is our bridge to our higher self, the unseen planes. So we can do anything we want to give ourselves the indicator of moving up and out beyond. So we go off the edge of the paper. And our keywords for the 7th level of energy, based on our little energy chart, as mentioned, this chart is going to be available as an ebook or as a download when we get to the close of exploring the 0 through 9 levels of energy. And so then you'll have a much more extensive set of keywords, and there'll also be down in this part of our chart, each level has a color associated with it. Again, this is the violet level of energy. It has an aroma, it has a stone, it has an animal, it has a body zone, as mentioned, you know, this being the pituitary gland when we get to the 7th level. And it has, I include a type of music that we can add into each level, having its own different kind of music. For the 7th level, the music is silence, listening to our own inner harmony, we could say. So when we are in alignment with the 7th level of energy, we have been able to climb all the way up the ladder of the chakra system, and we reach the top. It is never a good idea to start at the top, because we could have areas of concern, areas that we need to clear, and if we just start wanting to be, well, one of the keywords for 7th level is perfection. And if we are attempting to be perfect before we are aligned, it's not going to really be to our benefit. So we want to always rise up from the base of the spine, the red disc, not available here, but we rise up from the red disc, and we just do a check and balance. This can be very, very easy, very quick. As I often say, even if you only do these exercises for 15 minutes a day, eventually you'll get to the point where you can just basically climb the ladder and see that everything is clear, that there's no static on the line, that you're balanced and you're working from home. So when we work with this seventh level of energy, the little power statement we can use is, my intuition leads me into the world through peace. So as we spoke with the sixth level, that's our intuitive third eye, our ability to see behind our physical eyes. And that's where real vision comes from. And once we have our connection to our intuition, we can then rise up. It leads us into the world through peace, and we get up to the top level, seventh level. So our keywords that align us with the positive pole of the seventh level are words such as deep thinker, intuitive, dignified, quiet mind, self-examination, studious, meditation. And if we're looking at the negative energy fields for the seventh level, remembering that negative is not a judgment, it's simply a designation that there's a positive pole and there's a negative pole. And seventh level, like each level in its own way, is a battery pack that functions through us and gives us a connection to our own creative radiance. So when we're down here in the seventh level on the negative energy charge, the keywords that we have here are depression, unapproachable, fearful, suspicious, aloof, and secretive. And if we want to access the power of seventh level, we want to consider our relationship with the divine, with infinite creative intelligence, with the all in all, with all that is. And we enter into silence in order to do that. So as mentioned, this is really the point where we rise to meditate. And if we sit silently in a chair each morning, or we sit cross-legged on our mat in the morning, we can easily rise up from the base of the spine through each of these layers and levels until we reach the seventh level. And we can imagine it as sort of a rain of energy that just kind of cascades down around us. We can just imagine the energy filling us with a sense of silent protection and guidance. So it's a really beautiful place to come to. It represents being in the present moment. And if there's a tendency to toward perfectionism in our own lives, this is the time to go into recovery, using the seventh level as an opportunity to give over any of our perfectionist habits that keep us under stress and don't allow us to feel freely guided by our intuitive inner guidance. So we listen, we go into silence, we listen with our inner ears, and we communicate with the divine, with the divine mind. And then we come back and we write, scribe, place into our journal what we've received as indications for our next step, as guidance for working through a challenge, as a approach to wellness if we're feeling diseased. So seventh level is just a real PowerPoint to reach. When we look at what Carol Bridges says about the seventh level of energy, Carol Bridges, Medicine Woman Tarot, we want to remember that's one of our research volumes for our journey. And when we get to the seventh level of energy, she calls it the warrior. And traditionally, it's referred to as the chariot. So in a traditional tarot deck, we have the chariot. And in Carol Bridges' work, she refers to it as the warrior. And she said the meaning of this card and of this level of energy is rest, again, rest in the silence, meditate, and then success. We rest, and then we feel into the next step towards success. in our situation, our circumstance, with our project, in our relationships, in the challenges and the opportunities that life is bringing to us. Traditional name, Chariot, medicine woman energy, victorious warrior. And the power statement that Carol Bridges offers us when we're working with the archetype, when we're visiting this part of our own physical experience, we say, I am a point of power for the divine plan, which works unfailingly through me. Having set my will to follow the highest within, I'm strengthened to express the victorious life. Really lovely affirmation. And as mentioned, in each of her chapters on each of the levels of energy, she gives us that short form that I'm including in each of our sessions. And then she lets the archetype speak. And then she gives us a whole list of exercises. So I really recommend that if you feel so inclined, this could be a good book to add to your library for working with the creative levels of energy. As mentioned in an earlier session in our series, I led a group at one point doing our own inner child cards based on the archetype, but doing our own interpretation of it, and then using our non-dominant hand to draw it. And we called these our inner child healer cards. And you can see this was done in 1993 that we did this series. And it's really a lovely thing to do your own interpretations, make your own cards, or make your own notations on what you learn and how you experience each of these energies. Because for each of us, it's an individual journey. Nobody can say for anybody else what the energy, how the energy is going to function and how it's going to move through you. I want to return to something that we did at the very beginning of our series, and that is to add a poem to each of our levels. And so I'm going to go to the 7th level, and I'm going to share with you, again, another wonderful tool to add to your own experience of the creative energies of life. This is the Sage's Tao Te Ching by William Martin. It's a new interpretation of the Tao Te Ching. And I was given my first copy of the Tao Te Ching when I was 19 years old. And it became and remains for me a tremendously balancing, poetic tool for wisdom. So when we go to the 7th level, we get this poem, which goes like this. We are free at last. Growing older brings detachment from temporary things. But the more detached we become, the more passionately we live. We even become detached from ourselves and enjoy ourselves more than ever. Like the Tao, we have no desires for ourselves, yet all our desires are fulfilled. We have no more need for accomplishment, yet we accomplish everything. We accept the fact of death, yet find we are always alive. The detachment of the sage is not a stoic withdrawal from life. It is a delightful immersion in every aspect of living. But we no longer need to take ourselves so seriously. We are free at last to live with joy and love instead of fear and distrust. So just to do a recap, the fear and the distrust tend to live below the belt. And as soon as we endure some situation or circumstance, some relationship or challenge that has been difficult or even detrimental, we endure it by breaking through our own self-imposed limitations so that the heart can open. And once the heart opens, we're in a position to begin to move upward on the scale. And when we get up to this point in time, we're reaching into other dimensions through the silence. So let me turn the camera and we will close our session. And so here we are, 7th level of energy, the final energy that will be within the physical body of the stick figure map. Now we'll be in the 8th and the 9th, we'll be reaching out into our own boundary zone, which is really exciting and very, very empowering to know where one living being ends and another living being begins. So we're not fusing into one another, pulling on one another, or attempting to enmesh with others. So what we're doing is climbing a ladder of creative energies, and having reached the 7th level, we're now in a position to be still, to go into the silence, to meditate in whatever way we feel inclined to do. It can be sitting, it can be walking, it can be swimming, it can be hiking. There's a stillness once we enter into nature, there's a quality of stillness that comes with us. So anytime we immerse ourselves in the natural world, we can take advantage of the active meditative quality of the environment. This is Iona, and this is Wren House Studio, and I am so grateful to be able to share this work with you that I have been researching and applying to my intimate consultation work called Life Cycle. And I'll tell you more about that probably at the end of our series. But I'm just really, really grateful to receive your comments, and know that if you feel so inclined, this is information and energy that is universal, and it can be shared. It doesn't matter what anyone's spiritual beliefs are, because this is energy that does no harm to anyone, no matter what their own thoughts, beliefs, systems are. It's about balancing. It's about balancing ourselves from the base of the spine all the way up to the top of the head, so that day by day we have a power tool that we can return to and fashion so that it fits in our own life in the way that is most natural for each of us. See you soon.